Good evening and welcome to Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring, a show where I, Tim,
and I, Joel,
talk about wrestling. Welcome. How's it going, Joel?
You know what? It's going amazingly, fantastically well. How are you doing, Tim?
That's pretty good. I can't say quite the same, but it's going all right.
Well, it's Thursday. It's our time. It's the time that we have to sit here and talk about wrestling amongst ourselves and then with everyone else who's here on YouTube Live or maybe in the chat with us.
Yeah, and if anyone is in the chat with us, they just saw me move your face around a bunch.
Oh, God.
I forgot to lock that part of the screen, but it's done now and we're good.
It's okay. Less of my ugly mug, the better.
Don't forget to like. Drew a lot of attention to it. Sorry, talked over you there. But
oh, that's fine. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It helps us get into your friends' feeds, and that's really what we're after here. We're just trying to influence your friends and influence your neighbors and make good choices. Isn't that right, Tim?
That is right. We need all of that, and we need to be heard.
That's right.
We're narcissists. Hello.
Well,
I'm Tim. I'm a narcissist.
All right, let's get through this. First of all, we're going to get into the news. Everyone has already talked about it ad nauseum by now, but we do want to send our condolences to the family of Joe Road Warrior Animal Laurinaitis. 60 years old is way too young to die, man. That is awful. He's the brother of former head of WWE Talent Relations, John Laurinaitis, and half of one of the most influential tag teams in history. It's kind of crazy.
I was watching their Dark Side of the Ring one not that long ago, and I learned a lot about them, and I was like, oh, okay. And now he's dead. Very sad.
Yeah, but you know what? That Warrior pop, that will forever live on because he and the team were admired by today's top talent, and they'll be unforgettable. And there are so many more stories than we can tell because we're not in the business the same way a lot of the people who talk about wrestling are. So again, to the family of Joe Road Warrior Animal Laurinaitis, our condolences, and hopefully we're gonna have some better news in our future.
Yeah.
Some better news though. Stephanie McMahon's birthday was today. The creator of women's wrestling. Tim, did you know that?
I did not.
Well, it's very well known to the point where WWE and Fox sent out a tweet today touting her as a one-time WWE Women's Champion and the Vincent J. McMahon Legacy of Excellence Award winner.
Is that new, or is that a thing I've just burnt from my memory?
That was the gimmick that brought back Shane McMahon back in 2016.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, that was
big moment. It was great. It was funny. And I like that they added that in. It was very cute. It was fun. And Sonya Deville, happy birthday to her because she's still on our minds. Hopefully she's doing all right. Yeah. So speaking of on our minds right now, the biggest story of the week so far has been that WWE and AEW are having COVID woes. The PC had a breakout. Yeah, it's getting around, man. Wear your masks, stay indoors if you can, and just, for God's sakes, just respect each other's boundaries. Keep social distancing. It's not that hard. Anyway, with the breakout, it began September 9th, according to Fightful Select, and it created a ton of changes in NXT programming. It's believed to have been accidentally spread by a coach and from those who are doing some interstate traveling. It's a little nuts right now out there. It's affected PC members all across the past few weeks. It's canceled PC classes, and WWE knew about it. They've taken precautions in some way, shape, and form, and NXT plans have been affected. In my eyes, I think maybe the addition of Timothy Thatcher into an elimination gauntlet after losing a North American title match, that may have been part of it.
Yeah.
Well, either way, mask and social distancing restrictions are supposedly a lot more relaxed than they were in the last few weeks. It's irresponsible. It's not shocking, unfortunately, because we've seen way too many people not wearing masks and way too many people not giving a damn about it. So here we are on NXT. Some of the obvious affected are people who just weren't on TV this week. Shall we go through the list, Tim?
Yeah, let's go through the list. It's pretty long.
We got Vic Joseph, we got Wade Barrett, Tyler Breeze, Bobby Fish, Orny Lorcan, Joaquin Wilde, Santos Escobar. Those are people who were not on TV. Doesn't necessarily mean that they had any health-related issues, as it were. And then with the NXT Women's Battle Royal, we had women added to the Battle Royal, such as Emily Anzulis, Brandy Lauren, Raven Marie, Gia Roman, Ellie, and Avery Taylor. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean that other women were dealing with COVID-like symptoms, but it does mean that there were changes. Those people were not originally supposed to be there, and certain things happen on TV that made these things change.
I mean, I think they dealt with it pretty well, both teams, but it did feel kind of wonky at times. And it's
It
like, oh,
definitely
nothing
changed.
that we talked about is happening just because things have occurred.
That's right. Everything, a lot of things that we talked about with PW Unlimited in our weekly draw series that you can find now on their YouTube channel, it changed a lot of what we were talking about for NXT and for AEW, more AEW than NXT. And
Yeah.
speaking of AEW, those affected on their side, Lance Archer, who started the bang with a tweet about not being able to go because of, I think it was something about his dog and a neighbor who was infected, bringing the dog to the vet. There was a whole thing, and you go back and read it. That prompted Moxley to then tweet something about I'm putting the title on the line tonight because it's live TV. That was cute. So anyway, Lance Archer, Stu Grayson, Alex Reynolds, Wardlow, Nick Jackson, Butcher Blade, Ben Carter, who today came out and said that he is also affected by COVID-19. A lot more names on the AEW side, and we'll see if all of those names are affected or if they just weren't on TV.
I mean, Ben Carter had, like, when did they tape that? Was that the night before?
I think I don't actually know what the taping was. I know with Dark
like,
it was a
does
couple
Scorpio
weeks ago.
Sky now have it?
No, I think it was. I think those were different times. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And what's also a little more frustrating is because Brian Cage had tweeted something. Turns out it wasn't COVID related. It was stem cell treatment related. So that got a little strange. But Cage and Carter wrestled at Warrior Wrestling last week, and Tay Conchi was on that card, and Luchasaurus was on that card, and there was a meet and greet in that card. There was a lot of stuff going on involving AEW wrestlers at these independent shows.
Oof.
I think right now it might be time to kind of put the kibosh on independent wrestling for a little bit, especially if you are a signed talent to other promotions. I get it's your livelihood. I get it's some money, but man, that's a huge health risk if you're not being careful.
Yeah, like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me how they're running things. There's just no safe way to do it if you're not a larger organization, and they're still trying as best they can, but nothing has changed. So not surprised.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things, if you want something weird, people have been thinking and talking about Naomi a lot lately. Why she's not on SmackDown, why she's not in the women's title program. She actually revealed on Instagram today that she underwent, get this, a 6-hour surgery to remove a fibroid that caused severe anemia, fatigue, horrible abdominal pain, and other issues that have plagued her for the last year and a half. Those were her words. She's recovering. She's feeling better. But man, that maybe explains a few things as to why we haven't seen her on TV lately.
Yeah, I mean, she was getting all that buzz, right, with the, like, deserve better thing, and it just, kind of fizzled out. She was getting some attention and then gone. So, I mean, it makes more sense now. Disappointing, but it is what it is.
We're going to find out soon enough if it's a quick recovery or not. But regardless, I mean, we hope it is, and we hope that she's doing all right. And you know what else is doing all right? Tim, you are my T-bar.
No.
Yes.
No.
You are
T-bar.
Yes. Everyone who's in the chat, say hi to T-Bar Tim. No. He's here for you. He is the bane of your existence. He's got that bald head and everything.
All right, I like that. That was funny. The bane of the existence thing. Good little turn. I see what you did there. Everyone sees it.
Retribution has been unmasked, kind of. We saw Mia Yim. We saw Mercedes Martinez. We saw Mace, otherwise known as Dio Madden. We saw Shane Thorne, who's now going by Slapjack. By the way, the only Slapjack I ever recognize is Stevie Ray. Don't tell me otherwise. Oh, and we have Dominic Dijakovic, who is now going by T-Bar, which, by the way, actually stands for Terrorize, Brutalize, Annihilation, and Retribution. Those are his words. Or as Jerry the King Lawler likes to call it, that boy ain't right.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Jerry Lawler very rarely makes me laugh anymore. That was one line that I absolutely couldn't stop laughing at. It was fantastic.
Yeah, very good.
Very big. So we got a possible 5-on-5 Survivor Series match coming. I'm assuming it's going to be members of the Hurt Business and 2 other women taking on Retribution, whatever those 2 women's names are. And we'll get into that in a second. But maybe Retribution is its own brand because there's so many more people who keep popping up with them.
Nothing about it makes sense.
Pop a rating.
Oh, it was very funny. I mean, like, they were unmasked, quote unquote. But like, you know, Mia Yim and Mercedes's absence from the battle royal was pretty conspicuous. Like, it's just okay, cool. I see what's happening. So,
Well, according to WrestleVotes, here's something that's happening backstage. Quote, just talked to a source who was in the building last night, being Monday. He said that the presentation of Retribution was a major topic of discussion. It was met with laughter at times. The direct quote is, the masks and names are already making the road for these guys impossible to climb. That is a very heavy statement to make.
I mean, they took 5 people who had great names, like great aesthetics. I don't know much about Shane Thorne, so I'm going to exclude him from this. But like great names, great aesthetics, could do it in the ring in a way that was awesome, and just ruined it. Like, what? What are these names? Like, I mean, you know, wrestling's dumb as a baseline. I'm sorry if anyone thinks otherwise. It's a dumb, fun thing. But like, this is just so weird. Like, I'm trying to wrap my mind around, like, the masks look terrible and are not functional and confusing and pointless. The story narrative that this was always going to be difficult. But like now they're signed wrestlers, and apparently that's also a license to kill. Because the way they kept talking about was they could do whatever they want, which is like, okay, but other people aren't. Like,
there were two things that came from that. One is that they were signed presumably so that Vince McMahon has a legal liability to kick their asses and then charge them for the damages they created.
Awesome.
There's that.
That works. I'll take that.
And you know what? Listen, it's going to play out further and further, and already people are talking about it. So you know what? In some ways, Vince wins in terms of engagement numbers. In terms of ratings, which we don't really delve into on this show, in terms of ratings, it doesn't really do much. But again, ratings are starting to become more of a thing of the past as we move forward in the future. And the way that social media has played a part, there's a lot of numbers watching those YouTube videos with Retribution.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, one thing that has happened and taken a little bit longer in wrestling than it has for other industries is the compartmentalization of everything. Like, I have friends who only know AEW, which is weird to me, like baffling to me, but they just got into wrestling like recently, and now that's a thing that they really care about. There are people who watch Impact, and like, if you look at Twitter, there are some people who hardcore stand for Impact. Like,
I had to deal with one today.
Yeah. yeah. Saw that. And it's just like, it's cool to see that all of these bubbles now pop up. And it's the same thing in the music industry. Like, there is no real mainstream anymore. Like, the WWE has the most money by far, but other companies are now able and they're viable to stand on their own, produce content that's pretty good, or at least certainly watchable, and it not be a problem, which is exciting. So, you know, if WWE wants to try to make their pitch for this more kind of fluid environment to be, we have the weirdest off-brand Batman villains, by all means, I'm here to laugh at it. But it's a shame that there are 5 very talented wrestlers who are now being kind of caught up in that. It just doesn't feel right, especially for me, for Dijakovic and Mia Yim. But
well, T-Bar, it gets better.
Does it?
Yep, because according to WrestleVotes, once again today, heard that one point the females in Retribution needed names on Monday for TV, and thankfully that was scrapped. One of the names was going to be, and I shatter you not, Shatter. Shatter is the past tense of what they should have done with this gimmick a long time ago, and where they should have tossed it.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's go back to some nicer things, shall we?
Yeah.
We want to talk about our Indie of the Week. I know, and we will, because we're going to do our whole back and forth, okay? So, you know what? Let's talk about Grindhouse. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about Eddie Kingston's new promotion and show that debuts on Saturday, September 26th with WWN Live. That's World Wrestling Network, and on Fight TV. The talent for the show is amazing, and they range in experience of I shatter you not, 2 to 18 years of experience for these people. You can expect hungry, fighting talent who are there to win. That's what Eddie Kingston says. So I'm sold. It's going to be great. Fred Yehai, who's in the Ring of Honor Pure title tournament right now, he's going to be a part of it. Sean Maluda, who you might remember from NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic, he's a part of it. JD Drake, who's a very big mainstay in the World Wrestling Network, Savannah Evans, and so many more. The full card is online at wwnlive.com. And again, you can catch it. It's Saturday, September 26th on Fight TV. That's going to be an excellent show. A lot of names that you may not know, but you're going to want to get to know them. And do you know what our other show is going to be, Tim?
What is our other show?
I'll give you a hint. It's the same show that we've been promoting for the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
We're going back to Warrior Wrestling in Chicago. It's the Stadium Series. It's the third one. It's the final show. And that is also Saturday, September 26th at 8 p.m. on Fight TV. Brian Pillman, who is the Warrior Wrestling champion, he's going to be putting his title up against Trey Miguel from the Rascals in Impact Wrestling. It's going to be a barn burner of a match. You've got Kaylee Ray, who is the Warrior Women's Champion. She'll be defending against Madison Rayne. Again, more Impact talent taking on more Impact talent. It's pretty awesome.
Didn't know she still wrestled.
Oh, she does once in a while, and she's still very much in it.
Awesome.
You've got Robert Anthony with Frank the Clown. Tim, have you seen Frank the Clown?
I have not. Let me Google.
Frank the Clown is attached to Noelle Foley. And yes, it is the same Foley that you're thinking of.
Oh.
Yeah. Frank is a real piece of garbage.
He looks like a piece of garbage.
He really garbagey. Anyway, that angle that we talked about last week with Joey Janela getting kind of rushed by these two masked assailants.
Yeah.
It was those two.
Oh.
And now Robert Anthony and Janela are going to have a match at Warrior Wrestling this Saturday on Fight TV. And I'm excited to watch Joey Janela absolutely demolish those two.
I pray, because this guy looks awful. Although he does look very similar to the true-to-life clowns that I've encountered.
We've got Mike Bennett, who is famously known for recently losing an NWA title match against Nick Aldis, and also for being Maria Kanellis' husband on WWE TV and in real life, taking on world-famous Cheeseburger from ROH. If you've never seen Cheeseburger, he's small and he's awesome. He is a prodigy of Jushin Thunder Liger. So go check him out if you can. We have the North. That's Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. We have Moose. We have Suicide. All are going to be in action, and they're all coming from Impact. Again, Warrior Wrestling Stadium Series. That's this Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fight TV. Because we talked about so much.
Stop you.
Go ahead.
World famous Cheeseburger is a terrible name. Like, the searchability on that is abysmal. And like, wow. I mean, he looks cool. It does look fun, but like, damn.
You got to search Cheeseburger ROH.
Yeah, that's what I searched world famous Cheeseburger and then I put in ROH and it worked, but it's still weird. Terrible decision.
If you put in world famous Cheeseburger, what's the first thing that comes up? Is it McDonald's?
I'm going to guess it's a bloody cheeseburger. Let me check.
I assume it's going to be someone's recipe for a cheeseburger. Anyway, let's not fill dead air. And instead, let's talk about Impact.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk a little bit of Impact because they have the best cheeseburgers. No, they don't. But I can tell you this much. For the amount of money that they spent on cameo videos for this hashtag Heath for Impact video, they could be making the best, and I do mean best, cheeseburgers in the entire world. Do you want to wager a guess of how much they've spent on cameo videos?
Well, let's see. There were 4 or 5 at like probably a couple hundred pop. About $1,000. Is it about $1,000?
$1,150.
Oh my God.
$1,150 were spent on cameo videos for this social campaign. $50 from Nancy Kerrigan, $250 for Flava Flav, $300 for David Hasselhoff, $300 for Chuck Norris, and recently on socials, they did another $250 from, I shatter you not, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Why? Why does anyone give a crap about what Dog the Bounty Hunter has to say in 2020? Why? Was it good? I haven't seen it. Is it good?
I did not watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the dog one. I watched the rest of the video and it was absolutely hilarious. The actual Heath for Impact social campaign is funny. And
the package was great. That whole segment was fantastic. I could have gone my entire life without seeing how old Chuck Norris looks. Disappointed to see that. But other than that, it was very, very funny and very amusing. Oh man.
What else was amusing?
What's that?
What else did you find amusing from Impact this week?
Impact, like a lot. Like it was honestly a pretty good show. The main event was solid. Josh Matthews once again proves himself to be a nitwit. He states, "Is Tennille Dashwood the tallest knockout?" No, Ty is definitely taller. Just like a quick glance. She's on TV every week, Josh. She was on TV earlier that day. Anyway,
we were talking about that offline, and I laughed the same way I just did now. But I do want to point out, I said this to you offline too. I was watching our friend Throwbacks show live while I was watching Impact and taking notes, and I moved the volume around between both shows throughout, and
Yeah.
I caught that line from Josh Matthews to Madison Rain asking, "Do you think that Tennille is the tallest knockout?" What?
Like,
and Madison Rain just being so confused.
because it's such a weird, like, and that, you know, put me down a rabbit hole, and I'm looking up like female wrestler heights for the next like 5-10 minutes, and they all hover around 5'5". Like, it's weird how homogenous it is. Like, I would expect there to be more like taller women, but like, it was weird. Weird, so weird. Impact, very good though overall. Like, Eric Young has clearly lost his mind, and he's doing a tremendous job of that. Scott D'Amore is awesome to watch. That shouting match between him and Eddie Edwards after the beatdown, I really enjoyed. The only thing I didn't enjoy this week was more Rob Van Dam. I hated that match, and I was so happy when it was over.
How did you feel about that opening contest with the triple threat?
It was
take
good.
on
Like,
Rohit.
it was good. It came out strong. I love Rohit a lot. Like, I love that character. It was really fun, and you know, he won in the way that a guy like that's gonna win, I guess. So
yeah, easy roll up, get the pin.
I didn't
Walk away.
realize when they were talking about it's an immediate match, and then they said it like it wasn't even a thing. Like, they're just like, yeah, immediately after, and then I was like, oh, you mean immediately? Like,
I was under the impression that it would happen at Victory Road because that's going on. I think it might be the same night, or at least very close to when NXT Takeover is going to be going on.
yeah, they haven't built that card enough. So like, you think they'd throw that on there? Maybe they'll do a rematch.
I assume it's an Impact Plus event. It's a pretty straightforward. It's like a glorified house show, but you can't have any fans.
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway, it was a good show. Again, nothing like amazingly incredible to write home about, but they continue to kind of make a better effort every week.
Look,
especially after
there was no Wrestle House, and if the if the worst thing is me having to put up with Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes, like, that's still like maybe 5% of the entire program, which is better than Raw this week. So
I do want to point out probably the funniest and silliest thing that I was on that show was what was it? The best man contest that's going to be going on. It was a Fall of Bob versus Johnny Swinger.
Yeah.
I just love the part where Tommy Dreamer comes around the bend and just like, did someone say match? And you have was it Johnny what's his name? Not Johnny
Bravo.
Impact. Johnny Bravo was just like, shut up, Tommy. This is not Wrestle House. Get the hell out of here. I'm cackling because anytime you can tell off Tommy Dreamer in 2020, it's well worth it.
Oh yeah, it was great. It's very good.
I had a good time. You know where else I had a good time? I watched the Ring of Honor Pure Championship tournament continue. Did you have a chance?
Yeah, I did. It was actually the first Ring of Honor programming I've ever really watched, other than what they've been putting out, just these like clip show packages.
So what do you think?
I have some questions.
Okay.
First off, the first two matches they just showed like the finish. Is that typical of their shows? Like, even when they do live audiences, they have like they'll give you some clip shows and then they give you a couple full matches, or is that abnormal?
That's abnormal. It looks like their presentation for this whole tournament is like very focused on pure title, nothing else. No outside conversation, no outside angles. It's just pure, and they'll recap everything and then go into the next week of shows.
Yeah, I just saw like with only an hour, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a promotion were to do that, like to focus heavily on live shows, but then like give you two full matches, but some clips for the other stuff, just so you can build narrative and build towards bigger matches down the road. But that's cool.
Yeah, it's good. It was a good start. One thing that I saw actually, and then we'll touch on the matches. There's a video circulating on social media of the ring crew replacing the canvas after every single match. And other companies, if you are doing TV tapings, you better start taking notes because that's amazing. They say they have 10 canvases to replace. So it's safe to assume that there's about 10 matches taped per Ring of Honor taping. You can't do that with a live crowd unless you have some sort of distraction while the crew works. You bring in a band, you bring in a magician. I don't care what it is. But if you're running a show, I think it's a really good way to be able to do the job as safely and as securely as you can while still being able to keep the momentum and the flow going.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I mean, I know UFC does like the spray down. They have their weird mist that they walk through after every fight, but
it's just water. Yeah. No, I don't know. It's every time I see it, it's the first thing I think of. It's like, what if it's just water? And
who's going to call him on it? It's Dana White. Yeah. No one's going to.
Nobody knows. Anyway, Matt Sydal took on Delirious in the first round of that tournament. Did you catch that match, and did you understand Delirious?
Thank you for not telling me anything about Delirious before introducing me to him. They ran Matt Sydal's video package, and I was like, okay, cool. This is actually pretty well done. I don't care for the side face shot, but well spoken. His character isn't as lame as his tights make him out to be. Delirious then came on, and I was immediately confused. And I was like, that's not a language. That's not any language on this earth.
Was it the part where he starts clicking and then there's subtitles underneath?
I had a hunch, a strong hunch. And I was just like, no, this isn't real. That's not a language. And then he started clicking and it articulated an entire sentence somehow. And I was like, no, this is quite possibly the laziest gimmick I've ever seen in all of wrestling. Because you don't need to cut a promo, right? If you're bad at promos, yeah, you could do this. Just make a bunch of stupid gibberish.
You know what's not lazy though, Tim? Hitting that like button, subscribing, and commenting on this here video. Or if you're watching on Anchor.fm or any of your podcast platforms, shoot us a review. It helps us get into your friends' feeds. Yeah, I'm going to keep bringing that up because you know what? I want your friends, your dorky ass, wonderful, amazing friends to like wrestling as much as we do. And that was Matt Sydal and Delirious.
If you haven't seen, there's a little bar. Oh, this way. A little bar this way being, if for people listening, I'm pointing the wrong direction. There's a little bar that measures how close we are to 100 subscribers, which we need to change the dang URL. So
I could stop using Bitly links.
Yeah, it would be great. Wonderful. It'd be great if you could subscribe.
Great.
Delirious is a weirdo, and I don't like his tassels. Wrestling's pretty good though. The wrestling was good.
It was good. And you know what? Those two actually, just to pull the cover back, those two did live and train together early in the business. So there was a lot of respect there. It was a good match. Fun if you get a chance to go watch it. And also the opening match in that show was David Finlay taking on Rocky Romero. Again, two guys who know each other very well from New Japan and from back home, obviously. They had a great opening contest. What did you think of that one?
Yeah, it was good. Like both matches were really solid. So if this is the caliber of wrestling that ROH typically puts on, like I wish I'd been watching this years ago, because like the in-ring stuff I feel is very different now in the mainstream. There's good times, there's bad times, but Ring of Honor put on an excellent couple of matches there.
100%. I'm looking forward to what else goes on in this tournament. It's a fun tournament. It's such an easy watch. Another easy watch, if you're looking for more wrestling to get into, is actually NXT UK. I'm not going to get too far into NXT UK, but I'll tell you that they just did their second week of shows back from Corona and all that stuff. And they had a great grudge match between Piper Niven and Kaylee Ray for the NXT Women's Championship, the UK Women's Championship. It was a great match. So if you have a chance, go out of your way, watch it. Again, it's an hour. It's so easy and it's so good. So that's my plug for NXT UK.
Yeah.
What did you like this week, Tim, about
SmackDown? Honestly, solid show. Like SmackDown has come up. I like 2 hours, man. The more and more I watch Raw, the more and more it's just like you've set yourself up for failure, in my opinion. Favorite part was Sammy versus AJ. Like I really liked that. I think the entire show, start to finish, was really solid. Like I'm trying to think of like a really bad down point, and I can't really. Like solid. I like what they're doing all around. How about you?
I really enjoyed Sasha Banks' promo. I think while it was very soon for her to come back, I do think that the right story was told. And I think that they're going to be Hell in a Cell bound. And if you If you think it's going to Mania, it could, but it's going to take a lot of injury and a lot of downtime. But again, I'll say it a million times. These are two women who are moving the needle for WWE, and they have carried this company for the last little while when there have been no fans. So for Sasha to come back, they did the neck brace. She did a wonderful promo, very impassioned, and Bayley coming out of nowhere and beating the crap out of her in the PC, which they came up in together, built together, and owned together. That spoke volumes. It was a really, really good segment for me.
Yeah, like it was good, and we talked about why we think Sasha's back so soon. Like with the press that she's getting for the Mandalorian stuff, it just makes sense to just bring her back as soon as possible, because times are trying. So
Exactly. I also really like, speaking of storytelling, I like Roman's scowl at the end. Now, this was something, I see it on your face. You're not a big fan, but I'm going to tell you now, the one thing that makes the most sense is that Jay is going to continue to be Roman's biggest fan because he's blood, he's family. But there will come a time when either Roman's going to prove to Jay that he's nothing but a POS to him, and that could be Sunday, it could be Friday, or it's going to be that Jay knew all along and he's just going to go absolutely ham on his cousin.
I mean, he can watch it. Like, it's kind of funny to treat it like Roman isn't on camera and this can't be played back when they talk about reviewing tape and stuff in kayfabe. So that would be a good angle, and I would appreciate that scowl much more if that is where they end up taking things. I kind of doubt that is where things are going. What I like, okay, so I don't want to say I completely disliked the scowl. I don't think it had to be as big as it was. Like, wrestlers come up and it's theater, right? And when you're on in theater mode, like, your reactions have to be a lot more exaggerated. Right. Roman's been in WWE for a long time, so he knows that, like, maybe he doesn't need to do that big kind of facial movement. I think a subtle thing would have been better, but like the immediate like ha ha, ha was a bit much, where his face dropped immediately to like ultra serious. Like, if they had done that for like a little bit less long at the end, I would have appreciated it more. It just felt a little bit like kind of childish storytelling to me.
What did it for me was not that he suddenly made that drop in face, was that he did it after he looked at Paul and almost got the okay that Jay's not looking anymore. How do you really feel?
Yeah, and I mean, I think for me, I don't know that it's about that Jay isn't looking anymore so much as like, no, I want to be the top guy for a long time coming, and I know that to do that, I have to change my attitude. And looking back at Paul, having engaged him for that purpose might have reminded him like, oh no, what I have to do on Sunday is going to be bleak. But yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, I'll get into that. And then what did I not like? Was that everything you didn't like about SmackDown?
Yeah, that's the only thing was like that I think I personally would have produced that scowl a little bit differently, but it wasn't terrible by any means.
That's fair. You know what I didn't like? I didn't like Bro.
Yeah, his presence is a constant like indifference to me.
On top of that, I really didn't like the segment itself. It just didn't. It was silly. It was, and I get that Bro is supposed to be a little silly, but it just, given what's going on with Matt Riddle, it's easy for us because we're in tune and we know, but it's really, really crappy when there are fans who don't know what's going on with Matt Riddle and his real life and the allegations against him and the lawsuits and things like that. So to see him come on and do this whole like Bro thing is kind of garbage to me. I'm not a big fan of watching it. So that was one. We won't dwell on that. And another lawsuit angle. We brought it up in our PW Unlimited video. And yeah, that whole thing was absolutely insane. And I'll say it again. The only place I want to see this whole thing decided is in a food court. And I guarantee you they're going to do it.
No, okay, look. If this ultimately leads to Otis not engaging a lawyer and they do a courtroom segment and Otis has to represent himself, that's some good low-hanging fruit, my dude. I want to see that. Like,
fair. But before we get into Raw and our favorites, there's a question in the chat about whether it's true that Stephanie McMahon sold her stock in WWE. So I won't go too far into it, but basically WWE has Class A stock and Class B stock. Class B stock is really the ownership stock. It is the McMahon only stock. It is the voting stock. What Stephanie did was actually take her Class A stock, which is really just money stock, if you want to get real bare bones on it, and sold about 2 million of that. That it's not a big deal. It's actually common, and it's not like she did it out of some malicious intent. My joke was that she is using the money to fund her birthday party. But other than that, that's all it was. She just sold some stock.
Yeah,
It's pretty common.
And like Triple H sold some as well not that long ago. Like I am assuming they just have some exorbitant cost that they're paying for. You know, they've got plans. They're building a 5th summer home or some nonsense. I don't know.
Exactly. And if you really want to hear more about wrestling and the economics behind it, there's an amazing podcast out there called WrestleNomics. I cannot tell you enough times how much I've learned from it. And Brandon Howard Thurston, who is also a wrestler, has a lot of amazing things to say. His former co-host is a man by the name of Chris Harrington. If you've heard the name before, it's actually because he is currently working in finance with AEW. So he left the show to obviously pursue that new career. But if you get a chance to go watch WrestleNomics, get into it. It's amazing.
I got a question. Do you know offhand, like approximately how big the wrestling industry is, like in terms of a dollar figure?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't. That's a question for Brandon.
Yeah.
Okay. Throwback saying that the throwback says that we're on a 65-inch TV and it's sick. First of all, I'm so sorry that you have to look at our faces in a giant screen like that. I'm so sorry. Oh no. And now Tim's coming in. T-Bar is coming in for the full run. Okay.
A little bit of giant mouth.
Let's keep going. Giant mouth. What'd you like about Raw this week?
Oh,
I know.
That's
There's a lot that you did.
Question. The Hurt Business continues to be awesome. If they do add a couple of women to it, I don't know. I have no idea who would be a good fit. Billy and Peyton. There you go. Hurt Business.
The problem with that. No, you know what? There's no problem with that. I'm into it. Let's just do it.
I hope that all of the ninjas were consumed by sharks. That would make that segment worth watching.
Poor Akira Tozawa.
He deserves better. That's all.
Will they reincarnate him as Shark Boy, or is that gimmick infringement?
I think that's gimmick infringement. They'll have to do well, they said Sharknado 800 times, and they somehow got away with that. So I don't know.
Well, Sharknado is a legitimate weather term, right? So clearly,
definitely IP, but whatever.
Oh, my bad. Going back to the stock stuff, Throwback actually mentioned that Hunter spent a little bit of time in Nashua for a bit, so maybe it's money he's using for a new home or for his parents.
See? That's
good idea.
Like executives do this all the time. They sell that stuff just to like buy yachts and crap. So
yeah, money in, money out. That's business, right? Anyway, so you like the Hurt Business. You are ready to get rid of ninjas. You're ready for Shark Boy. Sorry, maybe not. What did I like about it? I'm going to agree with you. I love Hurt Business. It was everything I needed to be. I'm not a big fan of the fact that they're going to flop them back and forth between whether they're good guys or bad guys. I guess the idea...
it's kind of neck wrenching to do that.
I'm assuming the whole idea is that Retribution is evil above all evil. And therefore, everyone's going to come together and support the Hurt Business because they're legitimately on the roster, whereas Retribution is, well, now legitimately on the roster, but trying to kill everybody. No, these are things that we liked. Remember, these are the good things.
Yeah, no, Hurt Business are great, and like that, I love them. It is good to see Shelton Benjamin back and doing something strong and good. Cedric Alexander is great on the mic, and I had no idea who this guy was. Like, he was the guy attached to Ricochet, and now he's someone I'm paying attention to and care about. MVP, when he came back at the same time as Edge, didn't really care about MVP. Now I care a lot more about MVP. Same with Bobby Lashley, who I think 15 years he's been doing this. I didn't really care. Now I care. So it's good. They've elevated 4 guys to a level where me, as a guy who's been in and out for over a decade, is now pretty invested in. So
yeah,
great job.
It's big on MVP to take somebody, to take all of these talent and want to build them.
Yeah.
And we need that. And some people have made assertions to, what's the word I'm thinking of? They're trying to match them to Evolution. If you remember back in the day.
Yeah, but it's
different.
not quite like
you've got MVP, who is the older guy. You've got Shelton, who is, the
second
Bobby
older
Lashley
guy. Like,
yeah, I know. You've got Triple H, who is like, sorry, Bobby Lashley, who's like the Triple H, and then you've got Cedric Alexander, who is like the Randy Orton.
Yeah.
It's totally different, but
it doesn't
I see
fit.
some of the similarities.
Like, didn't
it doesn't fit.
MVP and Shelton were like both doing their prime runs around the same time. Like,
that's a good point. Guan YouTube asks, would you like to see the Hurt Business expand? And if so, who would you add and why?
Oh, that's a good and tough question. Well, we were talking about adding a woman to it, if not two.
Yeah. Let's pitch out Mia Yim from Retribution and have her join the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
Covert.
If they could free her of that that terrible situation, I would be very happy, because she would be perfect, like an absolute perfect fit. It would be great. Maybe Shayna Baszler.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Throwback had Bianca Belair. I am for that. Although if Bianca is a bad guy, a heel, if you will, you would have to kind of explain the whole Montez Ford Bianca.
There'd have to be a break there. Like, she'd have to be like, I don't want to play games anymore and get really serious. You have to throw out the package they just did. So
yep.
Yeah. I think it'll still be good. Like,
well, that's going to actually take me into what I didn't like about Raw. And one of those things, listen, there was a lot, but the Bianca Belair promo, as good as it was, I don't need that. I need her to be racking up wins. That's what I just need her to see it through. She's on main event right now and she's winning matches. She had a really good quick match with Liv Morgan. Great. Awesome. Put her on the main show. Let her rack up wins. Let her challenge Asuka. Let it be a good match.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you can build her up and she's ready for that. Like, it would be great.
Yeah. That's all I want. And then Retribution needs saving, and Zelina Vega does not need another. She doesn't need a title shot with one victory.
No. Oh man. Literally it's an onion of disappointment. This Monday was like, I keep forgetting things that made me angry. And here you are bringing me right back.
Throwback saying someone else wanted to rant and flip. Let's do it.
It was so bad.
I watched you Throwback, and we're usually the very, very positive people on the show. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to say that boy ain't right. And again, Jerry Lawler making me pop for the first time in years. That was one of the only good things about Raw, other than this Hurt Business talk that we're having. Let's move on, shall we?
You want to talk about AEW? T-Bar just tweeted 18 minutes ago.
What is it?
Our mission is to destroy the WWE, and we will do so by laying waste to every single superstar, past and present. The only exception to this is at the real X-Pac, because X-Pac is an outstanding name.
So there's so much dead air with this
T-Bar's Twitter game is so good. I'm making ridiculous faces. That's what's happening, audio audience.
If there's one thing I can say about T-Bar, it's that, yes, he has done some incredible tweeting over the last 3-4 hours. He went on Brian Alvarez from Figure 4 Weekly and Wrestle Observer Radio, and he flat out put, with the AEW and NXT ratings thread that starts every week at, when was it, Thursday at 4 p.m. He then goes on and says, T-Bar 1.6 million.
Oh, welcome on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing. We're up to 40% of our goal now. That's good to see.
Yes, that's right. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment on this thing, because you know what? We just want your friends to like the friends that we have who like wrestling. That's what we're all about.
Now all I want is T-Bar to subscribe. Please, T-Bar. We'll love you. I'll stop with the nasty words about Retribution if we can get a T-Bar subscribe.
Last thing about Retribution before we move on to the AEW stuff. I give big respect for T-Bar, aka Dominic Dijakovic, because you know what he did? He actually gave up his blue check mark to change his name on Twitter.
I mean, he's all
that's not easy. It's not easy to get that back.
He's so good. It feels like such a disservice. And his promos have been weird, so I'm hoping that he can translate this weird voice on Twitter into better promos on TV, because the stuff coming out of his mouth doesn't make any sense. Like he said WWE superstars are an illness and I'm the judge, jury, and executioner.
He said that twice, by the way, in the night.
That's not how you deal with illness. Like,
all right, Worcester's own Dominic Dijakovic. Dominic Dijak. All right, what do you like about AEW? Obviously, we have enjoyed Raw enough right now.
I enjoyed it for weird reasons this week. Like
Yep.
it was just to be. It was like the 2 minutes hate or whatever it was in 1984. I get to be let all of my anger out on the TV screen once a week. What did you ask? NXT or AEW?
AEW, and then we'll go to NXT.
Dub, Eddie Kingston, all of it. Give me more Eddie Kingston.
It's funny because I see you clicking around notes, and that was my.
I just
note.
read your note. Yeah,
but yes, I agree.
Mine is the same. My note is also that promo was tremendous, and like the WWE digs were pretty funny. And normally I'm not into it when they do that, but like, yeah, it was pretty good. He's like, I didn't sell my heart and soul to the devil. It's great.
Oh, I thought that was fine. I watched Mr. Warren Hayes on his recap show last night on Fightful talk about how it was a shot or it wasn't a shot. You know what? It was a shot, but it was all in good. It was in good fun.
No, it was great.
It wasn't like a stupid sloppy shop line. It wasn't something like that. It was exactly what you needed.
Yeah, that sloppy shop line didn't age well now, did it?
Well, again, both sides have been. Originally, that line was about how WWE's testing was awful, and then they picked it up. And now it doesn't stand. It basically was a call to do better. I get it. Anyway, yeah. So again, Eddie Kingston, all of it. That match with Jon Moxley was incredible. I mean, it was Chop City. It was a real
so good,
tough ass match.
I had a friend share with me just the chops over Instagram. Now it's like, yeah.
Oh, Terrence Jefferson in the chat talking about Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. By the way, if you're new to watching the show, we do stand Joey Janela in our house.
Hell yeah.
Joey Janela is our guy. So Janela is the new Midnight Express just to piss off Jim Cornette. All about it. Let it happen.
Anything that angers Jim Cornette makes me happy.
We'll take it. But yeah, Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela did have a really good match against Miro and Kip Sabian. I wasn't a big fan about it, and I think I may have made a note about it, but we'll talk about that in a sec. What else did you like about AEW this week?
I actually liked late night AEW's main event. Matt Sydal came back and redeemed himself. He made a little gag, like wiped off the turnbuckle. That was pretty funny. And Sean Spears did very, very well. I guess he's with Tully now, and there's a narrative about him having metal in his palm, but whatever. Like, it was still a good match overall, despite the kind of clunky introduction of that stuff.
Yeah, down with it. With Tuesday Night Dynamite, I was also a fan of that Ben Carter match taking on Scorpio Sky. Real good. And you can tell them they were really, really putting over Ben Carter. Yeah. They are looking forward to potentially signing him or at least keeping him around because he's a great talent. And he's got, again, we talked about it on the PW Unlimited show. He's got upward momentum and potential, and you know what they want.
No, Jericho came in and did a great job on commentary. Like, when he first started talking about him, he's just like, oh, yeah, this is a big match for him because it's the first match I've ever seen. And then he's like, nah, it's in his bones. This guy's been doing, he's probably had like 200 matches when he's 10, like all that stuff. So
what's, we got a question in the chat. What do you think about Cody's new hairdo?
Look, I really loved Cody Rhodes in WWE, and I was disappointed that he was squandered. In my opinion, like I didn't love seeing him match with Dustin, like when they were the tag team, and he's what was he, Stardust or whatever.
Yeah, that's what he was.
when he had his little blue shorts, he was very, very good. I think he was just difficult for some of the other guys to work with or something, like in the ring. I'm not a huge fan of him in AEW, and it weirds me out when people who have power put themselves so much in the forefront. So him coming back after the build-up was like and then he comes out looking like Anne Rice vampire, and I thought that was very funny.
I put it on Twitter. If you go into my Twitter, it's at Joel Pearls, should be underneath you there. Basically, all I said was it is Cody, but with a new cheap-ass hair dye, whatever. Go take a look at my Twitter. It's there. All right. What else about AEW? What did you not like, Tim?
I didn't like the Brandy Rhodes Anna Jay match. Anna Jay did fine, except like They were introducing her rear naked choke finisher as the Queen Slayer or whatever. I was like, it's just a choke.
Oh, they've been calling her that since
They have
she
been calling it.
was
Okay.
officially. Yeah.
It's the way they were talking about it made it seem like they were reintroducing it. So like between Brandy being kind of rough and Anna's finisher being boring, like I didn't feel it.
I'm really scared that there's someone in the chat who named themselves Tim and Joel fan and said hello. Hi.
I'm already uncomfortable immediately.
No, that you know what? I'll disagree because I did enjoy the match, but I also knew what it was going into it. I wasn't expecting the world. I had low expectations, and I wanted to see Anna Jay really kind of show what she can do with someone who's not as talented as Brandy, but still, pull it off. And they got it in, and it was not a long match. And they didn't have enough. They didn't have any botching that was super noticeable. It was fine.
No, the one thing that I really noticed was like that is just like such a weird thing to kind of goof. Anna picked up Brandy and she was trying to put her like on the middle turnbuckle in a corner, and like Brandy didn't line up her legs right, and they like hit the ropes. And I was like, you need glasses. You got some depth perception issues. What's going on? But anyway, I'm just being kind of petty now.
I'll tell you what I didn't really like about AEW this week was actually Orange Cassidy taking on Brody Lee.
It felt weird. Like
it was slow.
Yeah.
It was a slow match and a night that had already started slow. Again, going back to Janelle and Kiss taking on Miro and Kip. That match should have been a singles match, and it should have been Miro just beating the crap out of somebody. That's just
totally.
Most people.
Like, I mean, I don't know. They gave that a lot of time. Miro's entrance was funny. They spent all that money on the pyro, but like they talked about him being a very like nimble guy. He still weighs nearly 300 pounds and doesn't have the best vertical leap. So that was funny. Did a little hop and then the big explosion, but he does produce a sizable amount of saliva. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Orange.
But that match, the Orange Cassidy Brody Lee match felt kind of weird because it again came out of nowhere. I don't know if that was like a COVID thing.
No, it was planned and it made sense. It was just, I think because the night had started off so clunky, the match picked up at the end, which was great. It saved it, but just the way that they started it, a lot of comedy spots, which normally I like, but it just didn't fit this narrative.
Like I think how I describe it is they told the only story they could really tell with that. Orange did his typical gimmick where he starts off too cool for school and then slowly gets riled up. Brody, I think, started selling stuff way too early though, and dragging it out by exiting the ring. Like you can do a no sell on a Cassidy drop kick if it's within the first few minutes of the match, man, and his hands are still in his pockets. Like,
well, with Cody coming back, we're going to see with that potential dog collar match. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get into our weekly draw segments with PW Unlimited. And for you guys, you can continue to like it, subscribe it, and comment on it and help us get in your friends' feeds, because that is our new thing. We're going to tell you that until it happens, because we just want all your friends
obnoxious
to love us and love
40% there, guys. 40%.
Yes. Hey, what'd you like about NXT?
Women's Battle Royal. It started off and I kind of laughed at it because it was like, oh, it's every woman in the roster except for the winner and the person who people kind of thought could maybe win, which I thought was really funny. Like Candice comes out, ultimately wins, and then Rhea, and I was like, okay, we'll see who wins this. But it and for the first few minutes, it's like scooping out scrubs for the first little while, and then once they clear the way, they actually started building more people, which I really liked about NXT overall this week. Rich Holland, they did kind of like a reintroduce where they gave him a proper finisher that they kind of articulated as such. They gave him the little tip of the hat. I don't know if he was already doing that, but like it was much more noticeable this time. He did the squash. What's her Casey Canizaro, they kind of pushed up her profile with that battle royal as well. Not through anything like super new, but it was entertaining, and like I was paying attention to her. So
yeah, she was in the final four for that battle royal, which was noticeable.
Yeah.
She looked good, and it's about time because she'd spent enough time off TV. So I think it's time to put a little bit more shot on Casey, even with Caden Carter as a tag team partner, or just seconding. there's a really good story to tell there, and maybe lead to the women's tag team championships. And we'll talk more about that when we get into Clash of Champions, which we're going to do a little bit later for PW Unlimited. But you know what? For the women's battle royal, it was good. It was serviceable. Tegan Knox getting knocked out was it's a means to an end, because now we're gonna have Candice taking on Io Shirai, and it's gonna be a good match.
I think that match just did a lot of heavy lifting narratively, right? Because you had Rhea and, oh my god, what's her name? The other tall one who isn't Mercedes.
Raquel Gonzalez.
Their thing's gonna continue. Like you mentioned, Tegan getting knocked out works. Like it's, they'll build it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I liked. I like the Gauntlet Eliminator. Yeah. It was a good match. It was better than I thought it would be. A little awkward having someone like Timothy Thatcher show up for it, considering he is not a winner in NXT, but it was still a good match. Happy that Kyle O'Reilly got the win, and it was very unsuspected.
Did not anticipate that. Like,
no one did.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was a good match. It was well put together. It took up the last 30 minutes of the show. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Undisputed Era plays with Kyle O'Reilly as number one contender. Yeah. Obviously Bobby Fish can't be there because he just wasn't on the show for reasons that we talked about at the top of the show. But I think we're in the clear with Kyle O'Reilly having a good match with Finn Balor at TakeOver on October the 4th. No, October the 6th, whatever the Sunday is. There's two takeovers. There's a December one and an October one, and
it's the 4th.
It's the 4th. Okay, cool.
It's the 4th.
Awesome. For those of you audio listening, I do not have a calendar. Anyway, you know what else I liked? I like how Regal hates fun.
I love how confused everyone was treating this very not confusing situation.
But you know what makes it even better is that the most confusing thing to any North American or anyone who doesn't speak Cockney slang, that's the thing that has Regal understanding it. Yeah. And for it to come from Danny Burch was just, fantastic. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was a fun segment. And who do you think is the special ops person coming back at TakeOver?
Was that the mystery hacker man package that I watched?
Yes, it was.
Half watched.
Yeah,
that's actually.
I thought it was a commercial.
Yeah, that's in my notes for this week for NXT. I'm tired of that because like they keep screwing it up and I don't care. Like, just tell me who's showing up at this point, or do better packages, because like I'm tired of this mysterious robot voice or robot or like computer based things. It just looks stupid.
I'll tell you, I got 3 options that I'm leaning towards.
Go for it.
And that is Bobby Roode,
yeah,
Bo Dallas,
uh-huh,
or Ember Moon.
Okay, so they'd have to change the gimmick for everyone then.
Yeah, that's fine. They've all been off TV long enough that it makes sense. Ember Moon is still potentially injured, but nothing's been updated about that. She's a gamer. It could work. And she's coming back for something that she lost, but never really lost, because she should have been, more involved in the NXT Women's Championship run that she had.
Okay. Yeah. I hope it's not Bobby Roode. I think he's
Bobby Roode's my dark horse. He's also the most known out of the 3 when it comes to just people who remember that time in NXT. Bo Dallas is far enough behind and off TV that he could do with the repackaging and a whole new thing. I'm afraid of it becoming a little too shieldy.
Like that's my only concern, because like I think he's got a lot of talent, and I didn't mind who he was before. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't think you liked the mystery hacker man at all, did you?
No, I just don't like that stupid angle. Like, because they keep screwing it up. No one can do it well. It's the same thing with Sami Callihan, and it's like his whole brainchild, and it's like I don't even like this. Like,
only thing I didn't really like from this past week, Velveteen Dream showed up.
Oh yeah, he did. He popped in there. They're gonna do the Kushida thing.
And you know what? Just get through it, get over with, and hopefully Kushida goes over, gets the win, and we move along. And Dream is just off my TV. Be done.
It's very funny. What's that move called? Is it Death Valley Driver, where he does the little like? Bloop?
Yeah, he calls it the Dream Valley Driver.
Yeah, of course he does. He just pops in like a weird cartoon carrot, like grabs man, pops over, and then just keeps going off out of the ring. And it's like, okay, goodbye.
He's very smooth. I'll give him that. In the ring,
he delivers it very well.
Yeah, no, he's good in the ring, but there's enough on him now that I'm over it. I'm done. I don't need to see him. He absolutely killed the mood for me, and I'm sure for many others. It doesn't work.
Same. He was really, really talented. It's disappointing, but don't be a sack of crap. So.
But you know what does work?
What?
If you follow PW Unlimited, we are going to be recording our WWE Clash of Champions predictions. That's going to be coming up this Sunday on pay-per-view is going to be the Clash, and hopefully on Sunday morning, if not earlier than that, you'll see on PW Unlimited our updates, our predictions, our expectations for the show. We're not going to do them here because we have already hit our time. And Tim, it's been one heck of a week, hasn't it?
It's been a busy week, a very busy week. Lots to talk about. I withheld things, so there'll be more for the PW Unlimited.
I'm starting to think I know who Tim and Joel fan is, and I'm a big fan. So before we head out of here and do our usual thing, we'll do the other usual thing that we do. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment, because you know what? It's going to help us get into your feed, into your friends' feed, and it's going to make us so much more happy to share wrestling with you guys. Because Tim, what do we do with wrestling?
We watch it and then we talk about it for attention.
And then we wait, what?
What?
No, man, we let wrestling put a smile on our faces because that's what we're here for. And hopefully we put a smile on your face tonight. Go check out the Mr. Warren Hayes shows if you're watching live on YouTube right now. Enjoy. Good night. See ya on PW Unlimited.